All glories to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, Chapter 23. Life's Ultimate Goal, Love of Godhead. The following summary of the 23rd chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. In this chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes the symptoms of emotion and love and the awakening of one's original loving relation with the Lord, as well as the characteristics of a devotee who has actually attained that stage. He then describes the gradual increase of love of God up to the point of Mahava. He then describes the 5 divisions of attraction and how they continue. He also describes the mellow derived from conjugal love, which is a supreme emotion. Conjugal love is divided into 2 categories, Svakiya and Parakiya. Svakiya refers to loving affairs between husband and wife, and Parakiya refers to loving affairs between 2 lovers. There are a number of descriptions in this connection. There is also a description of the 64 transcendental qualities of Krishna and the 25 transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then describes those candidates who are eligible to taste the mellows of devotional service. Their fundamental natures and their varieties are also described. The Lord also informs Sanatana Goswami about all the confidential paraphernalia of devotional service. He gives a description of Goloka Vrindavan, where the Lord is engaged in his eternal pastimes described in the Harivamsa. There is also an opposing description and a favorable description of Kesha Avatara. All these instructions are mentioned herein. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Sanatana Goswami, placing his hand on his head. Thus, Sanatana received the power to describe these subjects in books like Hari Bhakti Vilas. Text 1. Chirat adatam nijagutta vitam swaprema namamritam atyal druha aparam yo vitara gora Krishna janebhyas aham tam prapadye. The most munificent Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Gura Krishna, distributed to everyone, even the lowest of men, his own confidential treasury in the form of the nectar of love of himself and the holy name. This was never given to the people at any time before. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Jaya Jaya Gora Chandra Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ebe Suna Bhakti Pala Prema Prayojana Yanhara Shrava Nehaya Bhakti Rasa Jnana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, Now hear, O Sanatan, about the result of devotional service, which is love of Godhead, life's ultimate goal. One who hears this description will be enlightened in the transcendental mellows of devotional service. Text 4. Krishnarati Gadha Haile Prema Abhidhana Krishna Bhakti Rasera E Stai Bhava Nama. When affection for Krishna becomes deeper, one attains a love of Godhead in devotional service. Such a position is called Sthayi Bhava, permanent enjoyment of the mellows of devotional service to Krishna. Text 5. Sudha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Swayam Susamyabhak Ruchi Vischita Masvinya Krodaso Bhava Uchayate. When devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in bhav, emotion. Purport. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.1. Text 6. Edhui bhavera swarupa tatasta lakshana premera lakshana eve suna sanatana. Bhava, emotion, has two different symptoms, constitutional and marginal. Now, my dear Sanatan, listen to the symptoms of love. The word Sura Sattva Visheshatma means situated on the transcendental platform of pure goodness. In this way, the soul is purified of all material contamination. This position is called Swarup Lakshana. The constitutional symptom of bhav, emotion, by various tastes. One's heart is softened, and there is an awakening of one's loving propensity to render spontaneous service to the Lord. This is called Tatastha Lakshana, the marginal symptom of bhav. Text 7. Samyanmasrinita spanto amatvati sayankita Bhavasya eva sandratma mudai prema nigadyate. When that bhav softens the heart completely, becomes endowed with a great feeling of possessiveness in relation to the Lord, and becomes very much condensed and intensified. It is called prem, love of God, by learned scholars. This verse is also found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.1. 8. Ananya mamata Vishnu mamata prema sangata bhaktir itu chayate bhisma praladodhava naradai. When one develops an unflinching sense of ownership or possessiveness in relation to Lord Vishnu, or in other words, when one thinks Vishnu and no one else to be the only object of love, such an awakening is called bhakti, devotion, by exalted persons like Bhisma, Prahlad, Uddhava, and Narada. Purport. This verse, quoted from Narada Pancharatra, is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.2. Text 9. Kona bhagye kona jivera shradhaya dihaya abese jiva saru sangaye karaya. If by good fortune a living entity develops faith in Krishna, he begins to associate with devotees. Text 10. Sadhu Sangha Haitehaya Shravana Kirtana Sadhana Bhakti Kaya Sarvanartha Nivartana. When one is encouraged in devotional service by the association of devotees, one becomes free from all unwanted contamination by following the regulative principles in chanting and hearing. 11. Anartha nivritti haile bhakte nistahaya nistahaite shravanadye ruchi upajaya. When one is freed from all unwanted contamination, he advances with firm faith. When firm faith in devotional service awakens, a taste for hearing and chanting also awakens. Text 12. Ruchi hoite bhakti haya ashakti prachura ashakti hoite chitte janme krishne prityankura. After taste is awakened, a deep attachment arises. and from that attachment, the seed of love for Krishna grows in the heart. Text 13. Sei Baba Garhale Dare Prema Nama Sei Prema Prayojana Sarvananda Dhamma. When that ecstatic emotional stage intensifies, it is called love of Godhead. Such love is life's ultimate goal and the reservoir of all pleasure. Purport. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes this growth of love of Godhead as a gradual process. A person becomes interested in devotional service by some good fortune. Eventually, he becomes interested in pure devotional service without material contamination. At that point, a person wants to associate with devotees. As a result of this association, he becomes more and more interested in discharging devotional service and hearing and chanting. The more one is interested in hearing and chanting, the more he is purified of material contamination. Liberation from material contamination is called anartha nivritti, indicating a diminishing of all unwanted things. This is the test of the development in devotional service. If one actually develops the devotional attitude, he must be freed from the material contamination of illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. These are the preliminary symptoms. When one is freed from all material contamination, his firm faith in devotional service awakens. When firm faith develops, a taste arises, and by that taste one comes attached to devotional service. When this attachment intensifies, the seed of love of Krishna fructifies. This position is called priti, or rati, affection, or bhava, emotion. When rati intensifies, it is called love of Godhead. This love of Godhead is actually life's highest perfection and the reservoir of all pleasure. Thus, devotional life is divided into two stages, sadhana bhakti and bhava bhakti. Sadhana bhakti refers to the development of devotional service through the regulative principles. The basic principle for the execution of devotional service is faith. Above that, there is association with devotees, and after that, there is initiation by a bona fide spiritual master. After initiation, when one follows the regulative principles of devotional service, one becomes freed from all unwanted things. In this way, one becomes firmly fixed and gradually develops a taste for devotional service. The more the taste grows, the more one desires to render service to the Lord. In this way, one becomes attached to a particular mellow in the Lord's service, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhura. As a result of such attachment, bhava develops. Bhava bhakti is the platform of purified goodness. By such purified goodness, one's heart melts in devotional service. Bhava bhakti is the first seed of love of Godhead. This emotional stage is there before one attains pure love. When at that emotional stage intensifies, it is called prema bhakti, or transcendental love of Godhead. This gradual process is also described in the following two verses, which are found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.4.15 through 16. Texts 14 through 15. Adho shraddha tata sadhu Sangota bhajana kriya, tato narta nivritti shat, tato nista ruchis tata, tata shaktis tato bhavas, tata prema bhudhanchati, sadhakanam ayam prema, pradur bhave bhavet krama. In the beginning, there must be faith. Then one becomes interested in associating with pure devotees. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Thereafter, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of sadhana bhakti, the execution of devotional service according to the regulative principles. Gradually, emotions intensify, And finally, there is an awakening of love. There is the gradual development of love of Godhead for the devotee interested in Krishna consciousness. Satam prashangan mama virya samvido vanti ritkarna rasayana kata tajjo sanadasva pavarga vartmani shradha ratir bhaktir anukramishati. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. This is a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25. Text 17. Yanhara hridaye avankurahaya tanhate ete kachinna sarva shastrekaya. If one actually has a seed of transcendental emotion in his heart, the symptoms will be visible in his activities. That is the verdict of all revealed scriptures. 18 through 19. Shantir avyartha kala vatam. Shantir avyartha kalatam viraktir manasunyata asabanda samutkanta namagane sadharuchi ashaktistat gunakhyane Titistadvashatistale Ichadayo Nubhavashur Jatabhavan Kure Jane. When the seed of ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies, the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior. Forgiveness, concern that time should not be wasted, detachment, absence of false prestige, hope, eagerness, a taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord, attachment to descriptions of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and affection for those places where the Lord resides, that is, a temple or a holy place like Vrindavan. These are called anubhava, subordinate signs of ecstatic emotion. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of God has begun to fructify. These 2 verses are found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.25 through 26. 20. Hinava Prichankura Yandra Chitte Haya Prakrita Kshobe Tandra Shobha Nahi Haya. If love for Krishna in a seedling state has fructified in one's heart, one is not agitated by material things. 21. Tamopayatam pratiyantu vipra kangacha devi dutachitamishe vijopashrishta kuhashakastakshakova dasatvalam gayata vishnu gata. O Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way, for I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird, or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created, bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Purport. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.19.15, spoken by Maharaja Parikshit while he was sitting on the bank of the Ganges expecting to be bitten by a snake bird summoned by the curse of the Brahmana boy named Shringi, who is the son of a great sage named Samika. News of the curse was conveyed to the king, who prepared for his imminent death. Many great saintly persons, sages, brahmanas, kings, and demigods came to see him in his last days. Maharaj Parikshit, however, was not at all afraid of being bitten by the snake bird. Indeed, he requested all the great personalities assembled to continue chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu. 22. Krishna sambandha vina kalavrata nahiyaya. Not a moment should be lost. Every moment should be utilized for Krishna or connected with him. Purport. Maharaj Parikshit's expression of anxiety is explained in this verse. He says, let whatever is destined to happen take place. It doesn't matter. Just let me see that not a moment of my time is wasted without a relation with Krishna. One has to tolerate all obstacles on the path of Krishna consciousness, and one has to see that not a moment of his life is wasted outside of Krishna's service. 23. Bhavistuvanto manasas parantas tanvanamantopi anisham natripta Shravannetra jala samagram ayur hadar eva samarpayanti. With their words they offer prayers to the Lord. With their minds they always remember the Lord. With their bodies they offer their obeisances to the Lord. Despite all these activities, they are still not satisfied. This is the nature of pure devotees. Shedding tears from their eyes, they dedicate their whole lives to the Lord's service. Purport. This verse from Hari Bhakti Surodaya is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.29. 24. Buddhi siddhi indriyarta tare nahi baya. In the material field, people are interested in material enjoyment, mystic power, and sense gratification. But these things do not appeal to the devotee at all. 25. Yodustya jandara sutan surdrajam hridis prasha jaho yuvaiva malavad uttama shloka lalasa. King Bharata was very eager to attain the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is called Uttama Shloka, because poems and prayers are offered to him for his favor. In his youth, King Bharata gave up his attractive wife and children, as well as his beloved friends and opulent kingdom, just as one gives up stool after passing it. These are the signs of a Vikrakti, detachment, found in a person who has developed Bhav, the preliminary stage of love of Godhead. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 5.14.43. 26. Sarvotama apanake hinakari mane. Although a pure devotee's standard is above all, he still considers himself to be in the lowest stage of life. 27. Haroratim vahanesha narandranam shikamani vichamatan naripure sapakamapi bandate. King Bhagirath always carried affection for Krishna within his heart. Although King Bhagirath was the crown jewel of kings, he was still wandering about and begging alms in the city of his enemies. He was even offering respects to Chandalas, low-class men who eat dogs. This is a quotation from the Padma Purana. 28. Krishna kripa karibhena yadha karijane. A fully surrendered devotee always hopes that Lord Krishna will be kind to him. This hope is very firm in him. 29. Na prema shravanadi bhaktir api vayoga tava vaishnavo janam vasubha karma va tiharaho sajatir apyasti va hinartadika sadhaketvai tathapya chedya mula sati egopi jana valabha yataryate ahamad Asyaiva Hahamad Asaivamam. O my Lord, I do not have any love for you, nor am I qualified for discharging devotional service by chanting and hearing, nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge, or pious activities, nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, O beloved of the gopis, because you bestow your mercy on the most fallen, I have an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart. That hope is always giving me pain. Purport. This verse is found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.35. Text 30. Samutkanta haya sada alasa pradhana. This eagerness is chiefly characterized by an ardent desire to associate with the Lord. 31. Tvachchaisavam tribhuvanad. Tvachchasavam tribhuvanad bhutam ityavehi. Tvachchaisavam tribhuvanad bhutam ityavahi. Machchap Palam chatava vamama vadhi gamyam tatkim karomi viralam murali vilasi mudam mukham bhujam udhikshitam ikshanabhyam. O Krishna, O flute player, the sweetness of your early age is wonderful within these three worlds. You know my unsteadiness, and I know yours. No one else knows about this. I want to see your beautiful, attractive face somewhere in a solitary place. But how can this be accomplished? Purport. This is the verse from Krishna Charitamrta 32. Text 32. Namagane sararuchi laya Krishna nama. Due to having great relish for the holy name, one is inclined to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra constantly. 33. Rodhana bindu maranda shandu. Rodhana bindu maranda shandi drig indya bharja govinda tava madhura svarta kanti gayati nama bimbala. O Govinda, this youthful girl named Radhika is today constantly pouring forth tears like nectar falling from flowers as she sings your holy name in a sweet voice. This verse is found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.38. 34. Krishna guna chane haya sarvada ashakti. At this stage of bhava, a devotee has awakened the tendency to chant and describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He has attachment for this process. 35. Madhuram madhuram vaparasya vibhur madhuram madhuram varanam madhuram madhu gandhi murdu smitam itadaho madhuram 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 madhuram. O my Lord, the transcendental body of Krishna is very sweet, and his face is even sweeter than his body. But his soft smile, which has the fragrance of honey, is sweeter still. This is a verse quoted from Bilva Mangala Thakur's Krishna Charitamrta 92. 36. Krishna lila stane kare sarvada vashati. A devotee absorbed in ecstatic emotion for Krishna always resides in a place where Krishna's pastimes were performed. 37. Kadaham yamuna tire Namani Tava Kirtayan Udbhaspa Pundararkaksha Rachayishami Tandavam. O Lord Pundarikaksha, while chanting your holy name, with tears in my eyes, when shall I dance in ecstasy on the bank of the Yamuna? This verse is found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.156. 38. Krishneratira China E Krishneratira China E Kailun Krishneratira Chine E Kailun Vihana Krishna Premera China E Vishuna Sanatana. These are the symptoms of a person who has developed attraction, bhava, for Krishna. Now let me describe the symptoms of a person who is actually elevated to love of Krishna. O Sanatan, please hear this from me. Thus ends our reading for today. Our glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Our glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vimalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Our glories to the assembled devotees, Ki Jai. Our glories to the worldwide devotees, Ki Jai. Our glories to all human and non-human living entities, Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Haribol. Hare Krishna.